Hello and welcome to my YouTube channel. This is Bahati Joyce. Today we are talking about dealing with change. Change. It's one of those things that's really just inevitable. Someone once told me something that I've never forgotten in my whole life. Change is the only thing that's constant. Everything else changes. What exactly is change? How do we define change? Change, I find to be the seen or unseen differences over time. Why do I say that? Because there are things that are constantly changing that we don't necessarily see. And a lot of times the things we don't see that are changing are the ones that kind of make the accumulated change over time, which I call transformation. So the difference is that transformation is actually visible change. But change doesn't always have to be visible. Take, for example, your own body right now. There's like 100 billion processes going on right now. Like your digestive system. A lot of change is happening. Things are being broken down from bigger things to smaller things. A lot of biochemistry is happening, your enzymes. All that complicated stuff is change. It's one of the ways that we survive. Your body itself has taught you that you need change to survive, to adapt. Every process that's happening in your body that is geared towards change is so that you can adapt. As people, as humans, we have this incredible ability in us to adapt to our environments. There are different kinds of changes. The most obvious one is environmental change. When we are thrown into a different environment, we are forced to change, so you have to adapt. That happens with humans, that happens with animals, that happens with everything. There are many other types of change. There's social change. There's personal change, which I think is what I want to touch on a bit today. Personal change has been one of the most significant things I've had to go through in terms of, allowing yourself to go through the process. Process is all about change and transformation. But what I'll tell you is this: change is inevitable, but personal transformation is a choice. So transformation really, for me, has been in so many ways. As a person, I have grown in terms of my perspectives, in terms of being exposed to different environments that were very challenging, that were very different from what I was used to. And those environments forced me, one, to lose the identity that I thought I had. But really it wasn't, I can't say it was my identity, it was just what I had known to be my identity. And some of those things were just more of like comfort zones. By the way, if you have not watched my video on comfort zones, you should go over and watch that right now. So yeah, personal growth for me, what that has looked like, it has looked painful a lot of times because you have to grow out of this cocoon, this shell, and the change forces you to rethink, readapt, take a step back, question yourself, what you've known. And you're talking about 20, 30 years of things that you have done or been doing the same way. So personally, I've come to really value process. Everything you see in the world has gone through process, and that's what makes it valuable. A chair, it was raw material that went through process. Process is what makes things valuable. I really value my process. It's made me who I am. It's made me the confident, resilient go-getter that I am. Change is continuous. I'm like, if you knew me yesterday, you're going to have to relearn me today. I'm constantly changing. That's just how it is. So don't let anyone try to make you feel bad about your change. Sometimes you've just outgrown them, and that's okay. That's okay. Change is progressive. It's where you're heading, man. So don't let anything get in the way of that. Just endure the process, hold the vision, trust yourself, believe in yourself, and keep going. Change with a change, okay? Benefits of change, I think those are obvious. The benefits of change is one, that you outgrow your cocoon. And two, I think the benefits of change is that you can thrive anywhere. You can thrive anywhere because someone who knows how to adapt has a learning attitude. And that's what you need to kind of get through really difficult environments. So benefits of change for me are definitely growth, definitely value. Value. We don't value change, but that's where the value is. As you change, the value in you keeps on increasing. So in my other video talking about comfort zones, I mentioned 4 things which I feel are places of comfort and that maybe can hinder our growth. I want to tie that to dealing with change, because those are the 4 things I had to overcome to kind of go through this process of change. Change begins when you're thrown out of your comfort zone. So when you are with people who are not like you, people who don't like you, a different culture, and around people who have different perspectives, you're forced to change. That was my personal experience. So I had to live in a different country. That's a different culture. I had to do that multiple times. I sometimes was in situations where, okay, you know when you can do something for someone and it doesn't matter what you do. They just don't like you. Like, you're like, what is it with this person? And then I've now been in situations with people who are just not like me at all. So different. And for you to be you, it takes a lot of boldness because you're so different from them. You're in an environment where everyone else is the same, but you can't be boxed. You're this thing that's just different. And you stand out like a sore thumb. All these things for me really forced me, one, to realize everything else was kind of a false identity that I had built around myself. It wasn't necessarily true, but also I now had to do some soul searching. Like, okay, maybe some things that I had adopted were not the right thing, but it was really scary. Change is scary. Change is very scary because it's what you thought you were. And when the demand and the need for change comes, you feel like you're gonna lose who you were. And when you feel when you're gonna lose who you are, you have really nothing to hold on to. So that's what makes change scary. Even that's why sometimes we don't really embrace other people's perspectives, because it's like, I don't want to let go of who I think I am. Or I would really encourage to self-evaluation. How do you know you've changed? That's a good question. Let me tell you something. Change, the best way to test change, litmus paper test. Go back to the things that you've always known, the things that you're used to. Those are friends, those are places maybe that you've experienced before. Maybe it's something that you were used to. When you have changed, one, you will not fit in. Honestly, something about your confirmation about who you are will have changed, and it will be noticeable. That's the litmus test for change, that things no longer fit the way they used to. Those comfort areas, or maybe your friends used to expect you to act like this because this is how you've always acted. All of a sudden, you don't act that way, and people tell you, oh, you've changed. I think you get to really explore. You explore new areas. You explore new things. That's what I love about change. That's how I learned to embrace change. Even when I was talking about moving as a third culture kid, go and watch the video if you haven't. Moving around different countries, those cultures, those different countries really helped me deal with change. You just learn to constantly embrace new things. Be open to new things, to newness, to change. The last thing I would say is, you know what? Embrace your own personal journey. None of us have remained the same over time. If you remain the same over time, I don't think you can survive. You put an apple on the table, it decomposes. It's natural for us to change. So embrace your own story. Embrace your transformation. I know that you've had to go through your own change, and I would love to hear what that was like for you. What has changed for you? How do you cope with it? Share, comment, like, spread some love. Keep shining, keep smiling. Thank you so much for tuning in with the Bahati Joyce. Don't forget to subscribe. Subscribe right now. If you like what you watch, stay tuned and we'll have a great time.